नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, Verse 27. Yata vairānubandhena martyastannmayatām na tatha bhakti yogena iti me nishchitamatihi. Narada Muni continued. Continued. So we'll just read the last verse once for just reminding ourselves what we were reading. Therefore, by enmity or by devotional service, by fear, by affection or by lusty desire, by all of these or any of them, if a conditioned soul somehow or other concentrates his mind upon the Lord, the result is the same, for the Lord, because of his blissful position, is never affected by enmity or friendship. And we discussed that the most important thing is this concentration of our mind on the Lord, which happens only when there is attraction. And that attraction towards the Lord can be favorable or unfavorable. So this is unfavorable. This is also, if it is inimical, this is unfavorable. The others are all favorable. Hmm? So whether favorable or unfavorable, if one concentrates his mind on Krishna, then his life is done. Okay, so this is what Narada Muni said. Now he is continuing, explaining further. Narada Muni continued, by devotional service, one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Person of Godhead as one can through enmity toward him. That is my opinion. Now there are two things to understand here. Okay, first let's read the purport. Sriman Narada Muni, Narada Muni, the topmost pure devotee, praises Krishna's enemies like Shishupala because their minds are always completely absorbed in Krishna. Indeed, he thinks himself deficient in the inspiration of being feelingly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. This does not mean, however, that the enemies of Krishna are more elevated than Krishna's pure devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also thinks of himself in such a humble way. जगाए माधाय हईते मोई से पापिष्ठ पुरी शेर कीट हईते मोई se laghishta. I'm a worse sinner than Jagai and Madhai, who Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying. And I'm even lower than the worms in the stool. Puri shera kita hoite, kita, worm. Mui se laghishta. So I'm like lower than them. A pure devotee always thinks himself more deficient than everyone else. If a devotee approaches Srimati Radharani to offer some service to Krishna, even Srimati Radharani thinks that the devotee is greater than she. Thus, Narada Muni says that according to his opinion, the enemies of Krishna are better situated because they are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna in terms of killing him, just as a very lusty man always thinks of women and their association. The essential point in this connection is that one should be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna 24 hours a day. There are many devotees in Raga Marga, which is exhibited in Vrindavan, whether in Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya Rasa. All the devotees of Krishna are always overwhelmed by thoughts of Krishna. When Krishna is away from Vrindavan tending the cows in the forest, the gopis in the Madhurya Rasa are always absorbed in thoughts of how Krishna walks in the forest. The soles of his feet are so soft that the gopis would not dare keep his lotus feet on their soft breasts. Indeed, they consider their breasts a very hard place for the lotus feet of Krishna. Yet, those lotus feet wander in the forest which is full of thorny plants. The gopis are absorbed in such thoughts at home, although Krishna is away from them. Similarly, when Krishna plays with his young friends, Mother Yashoda is very much disturbed by thoughts that Krishna, because of always playing and not taking his food properly, must be getting weak. These are examples of the exalted ecstasy felt in Krishna's service as manifested in Vrindavan. This service is indirectly praised by Narada Muni in this verse. Especially for the conditioned soul, Narada Muni recommends that one somehow or the other be absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, for that will save one from all the dangers of material existence. This is for an ordinary soul, conditioned soul. Full absorption in thought of Krishna is the highest platform of Bhakti Yoga. So amazing 2 points to note here. I mean, very, very beautiful verse. First is, so Narada Muni is being very humble. In a very humble position, he is saying that his devotion is not, because his devotion is by devotional service, which is otherwise, here in this context, it is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay. So because he does Vaidhi Bhakti, he is thinking in a very humble way. Okay. Saying that, whatever intense absorption one gets by the process of Vaidhi Bhakti is not as intense as one who develops such intense absorption towards Krishna through enmity. So, and that is why Srila Prabhupada highlights here on Raga Marga, which is the more intense form of absorption of in Krishna. The other thing is all devotees are very humble, thinking that their devotion is very low class. And so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that, I'm lower than worms in the stool. I'm worse sinner than Jagai and Madhai. So in one sense, Narada Muni in a humble mood is saying that his devotional service is not as intense, but his intense, his devotional service and its absorption is pretty intense, because as soon as he starts chanting the names of the Lord appears in the form of sound vibration. And yeah, Lord is always accessible to Narada Muni because of his pure devotion. So there is nothing lacking in Narada Muni's pure devotion. So in one sense, he is being humble. And mostly we all think that our devotion is much better than others, isn't it? Mm. Because we think that way, we would like to, we tell or we take an upper hand. We think we can advise others. We think nobody should tell us anything, etc., etc. All this is because we think that our devotion is better. But pure devotees, they think that their devotion is worse, worse than, lower than worms in stool, worse sinner. He's saying a worse sinner. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, actually, when he at the time when he was writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, his health was very, very bad. He could not even see properly. So we can understand that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is thinking in himself, saying that, oh, see, I'm suffering so much because I'm the worst sinner. So when somebody thinks of himself as a worst sinner, I say, okay, my devotion is very low class because I'm a very sinful person. But that's not true. But that's the real humility. I mean, see, these devotees, when they speak like this, it's not some show. It's not some show to show somebody saying that, yeah, I'm very fallen, Prabhu. This is external. This is external. But these devotees, they're actually literally, they are feeling that they are low, that they're really humble. And when somebody says something to them, they'll actually feel, yes, okay, I'm not actually qualified. What they're saying is correct. Unlike us who are always ready to defend ourselves, make others understand, or, we want to convince others saying that we are better, we are a better devotee. And we should understand, saying that unless we come into this mood of Trinada Pisunichena, we will not go back to God. Full stop. And again, I'm repeating the same thing. I keep seeing devotees and their interactions with other devotees, with the rest of the world. Please don't be in the illusion that you are correct. Actually, I should include myself also. Uh, we should not feel that we are all the time correct, and whatever we are doing is right and others are wrong. And our finger is always about why are they like this? Why are we bothered about other people? Number one. Number two, are we sufficiently introspecting our own behavior, our own nature, the way we speak? what impact it has on others. I see many times people are insensitive, devotees are insensitive. And this mostly also happens with people at home. For example, husband dealing with wife, wife dealing with husband, insensitive. On the platform, saying that, oh, okay, they don't allow us to do bhakti or, whatever be the reason. But there is no conditional. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he said Tiranadapi Sanichena, he did not put any condition. Saying that, okay, if everything is favorable, then you please be humble. That's not what he said, right? He said in all situations, we have to be humble. So it's a very, very important thing. This humility is repeated again and again and again and again. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, like, we have to wear it as a, chain or something, around our neck all the time. So this is one very, 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 very important thing. Is humility. And for those who don't have humility, but who are sincere, Krishna hammers them in their life. Sincere, because we want to be hammered. We want our pride to go off. Um, so, so Krishna will create situations for us to remain humble, for us to come down from that position of pride, like he did for Indra, because mm, he was a well-wisher of Indra, so he brought him down in a big way, because Indra is big, and we are not so big that, but we still have to come down from our proud position, thinking we are something, somebody important that others have to see and respect and not ill-treat. All this we have to understand again and again is the same thing, that whatever is destined to happen is happening. Or if you are fully surrendered, whatever Krishna wants is happening. So humility is the only way. Okay. This is one thing. Now the other thing which is very, very beautiful purport here by, in this purport by Srila Prabhupada is on Raga Marga. So one thing we have to understand, Vaidhi Bhakti doesn't produce as much intense absorption as Raga. Okay, which is why Krishna says that he's not very much attracted by this Vaidhi Marga, which is awe and reverence. He's not very, does not attract him much. So he says that it makes the this one Shitila. Shitila means feeble. The relationship is feeble, not intense. Intense devotion is seen in the Raga Marga, in Ragatmika devotees in Vrindavan. And such a beautiful, such two powerful examples Prabhupada is quoting here. One is the gopis. They're always absorbed in thoughts of how Krishna walks in the forest. So when Krishna is away, what are the gopis thinking? Thinking, oh, how is Krishna going to walk barefoot in the forest? Now, please note, Vrindavan forest is not an ordinary forest where there will be thorns and this and that and all that. That will make it difficult for Krishna to walk there, because Vrindavan is full of devotees, right? Some devotees have taken the form of, living beings or human beings. There, some have taken the form of cows, some have taken the form of trees, some have taken the form of pebbles, some have taken the form of land, etc., etc., etc. And all jivas there are conscious. A tree is conscious, even a stone is conscious, right? The stones are also soft, so that when Krishna keeps his leg on it, it will not hurt him. So everything there in Vrindavan is out there to serve Krishna, but the ecstatic absorption of the gopis is that they don't see any of this. They don't see any of this. And they're thinking, oh, the soles of his feet are so soft that we don't dare keep his lotus feet on our breasts. Right? So we cannot imagine this. I mean, it just seems like an excessive exaggeration. right? But but this is their absorption. This is their absorption. They're absorbed in such thoughts. Uh, so it is not possible for any for Vaidhi devotees to actually have this kind of absorption, because in Vaidhi there is all vidhi. Right now in vidhi we are not thinking about, oh, Krishna walking barefoot in the forest. We are thinking about, okay, how do I do archana, how do I do bhoga, very like Pancharatrika vidhi, like that. We are just maybe not Pancharatrika vidhi, but I'm just saying that temple worship, this kind of mood, where it's all very, yeah, controlled environment, or awe and reverence. Okay, Narayana is sitting in his, palace full of opulence. No going into the forest, no walking barefoot, no, none of these. So the environment in Vrindavan itself is super conducive for this kind of absorption, because it creates a kind of a natural environment. Mm. So gopis are always in this, absorption about Krishna's welfare, Krishna's comfort, and this is their service to him. Mm. Uh, And because Krishna is not there with them all the time, whenever is Krishna is not there in front of them, they are completely absorbed in Krishna. Of course, there's so many instances about how gopis are so much fully absorbed. We can understand one, when Uddhava comes. Um, mm, Actually, not just gopis, right? Even Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, all the Brajavasis, they were so much absorbed that actually they are not even able to see that Krishna is actually present there. They are thinking they are just dreaming about Krishna, but actually Krishna was present. But they took the event of him going away from Vrindavan so seriously that they thought that, oh, no, no, Krishna has actually gone to Mathura, then how can he be here? So, like, human like. So which is why Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. It's very, very difficult to understand Krishna, because Krishna externally seems to be doing things which are like human. Oh, yeah, if Krishna goes from Vrindavan to Mathura, how can he be in Vrindavan? Ordinary human being cannot be in two places. Krishna can be there everywhere, not just as in Sarva Vyapi, not as all pervading energy, but himself, he will be there for his devotees. So much of absorption that the whole, like even in Ramayana, actually it is said when Rama went off, the whole city of Ayodhya, it just came to a standstill. Yeah, even here, there's a, description like there are cobwebs in the houses, meaning people were just not bothered about keeping their house clean, like cooking, nothing. That kind of intense absorption. And that is the reason why we have to read about this bhakti of the Vrajavasis. It's just unimaginable. It's just literally out of the world. Mm. Even Gopas, but their intense separation is not discussed as much as Yashoda Maya and Gopis. They are the cream, and because we know that nobody can replace, nobody can take the place of Yashoda Maya. So she's unique. She's so unique. And at least for us, even if we think about somebody like Gopis, okay, we have some place, because that is just ever expanding and unlimited number of servitors there. But Yashoda Maya is just one. Of course, we can serve her, but that cannot be exactly, of course. It could be because the absorption in Yashoda itself might be so much that we might feel her pain, her happiness, and all that. Um, um, Yeah, those who are attracted by Vatsalya can go into that route. Those who are attracted by Madhurya can go into the route of gopis. Mm. And also, just on this, sometimes I mean, I myself was spent a lot of time thinking, saying that, okay, see, all this Madhurya rasa, maybe I'm not, maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't want to have direct Madhurya relationship with conjugal relationship with Krishna. Is there something else? in this madhurya, which I can, where I can be of service. And so that is the position of manjaris. So I'm not going to go into the depth of this, but we can understand there is one mood amongst the gopis who want to have direct relationship with Krishna, and then there is another mood in the manjaris who don't intend to have a direct relationship with Krishna. Okay, but both of their absorptions are intense for Radha and Krishna. Hmm. And then Yashoda is, yeah, completely in Vatsalya, and she's so much disturbed. She's always thinking that Krishna doesn't eat. Krishna, she feeds Krishna so much, but she still keeps feeling that Krishna doesn't eat. So that is why Prabhupada is saying these are examples of exalted ecstasy. I mean, how much is their absorption that when Krishna, when Yashoda Maya and Nanda Baba, when Krishna is going to Vrindavan forest from the village, they keep falling, almost like they're going with Krishna, and then Krishna has to, convince them to go back, and yeah, it's tough. They can't live without Krishna. They're just ready to go with him. And Yashoda Maya is also telling Nanda Baba, why are we sending Krishna to tend the cows? There are so many servants. Why can't they go? Why can't Krishna remain at home? There's so many demons out there. So this is the exalted ecstasy. And this absorption is way far intense, than Vaidhi Bhakti. So this service is indirectly praised by Narada Muni. This is the most important thing. See, which is why there's nothing in this world which attracts Krishna as much as Raga Bhakti. We should understand this. Of course, then Prabhupada is saying, okay, all these might seem very hi-fi for devotees who are reading this, for the first, second, third time, who are not too well much deep into devotion. They're saying, okay, well, anyway, for a conditioned soul, this absorption will save them from material dangers of material existence, because this is what mostly people come for initially, saying that, okay, I have so many problems, help me out of it. So Prabhupada is saying, yeah, okay, still have this absorption, it will save you from all dangers of material existence, but that's not the end. That's okay, that's just one milestone, liberation. Hmm? But actually we end up, we will reach this stage of exalted ecstasy. Hmm? And this is the whole thing about ISKCON, about Raga Marga, about the path that we are taking, which is so uncomparable to other uh, sampradayas. So we are really, really fortunate. We don't know what this is. We really don't know what this is. We can't imagine our fortune. Mm. So, yes, this is what we should hanker for. We should hanker for this Raga Marga. This is what Laulyam, that is why Rupa Goswami says, other acharyas say that if you can buy it somewhere, mm, just go and buy it. But yeah, we know that we can't buy this. Mm, mm, it requires us to sacrifice our material absorption. We need to sacrifice the material absorption if we want to have this absorption in Krishna. Mm. And unfortunately, so many devotees are struggling with their material lives and issues and this and that and all that. And naturally, the absorption is in those material things, in those situations, in those problems. Mm. So then, how can we come into this intense absorption in Krishna? What should we do? Well, we are so much absorbed in our material situation, material life, children, etc., etc., etc. How do we come to this Raga Marga? How do we develop this? Yeah, how do devotees think? How do we develop this intense absorption?
Serving the devotees, probably. These
Serving
devotees.
devotees. Okay. Serving which devotees, Prabhu?
These devotees who have raga bhakti in them.
Or devotees who have Raga Bhakti in them. Okay. How will you know them? How will you know they have Raga Bhakti? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What else? What else can we do? What else should we do?
And one more thing we can do is that continuously hear about Krishna, and that
Mm.
becomes our attraction
Yes.
rather than philosophy of
No,
super.
no, 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 no. That till that time it was correct. Not rather than philosophy. But yes, hearing
Hmm.
about Krishna. See, we should understand that why this we should there is we cannot differentiate philosophy from pastime. Because the pastime becomes sweet only when we are on the platform of philosophy. Okay, which is why the first is Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana, then we will go into Rasa. But first we have to understand Krishna's position. That is why Krishna in Bhagavad Gita speaks about his supreme position of controller, everything coming from him, Sarva Karana Karanam, all that why Krishna is saying, and our position that we are not enjoyer, we are his servants. This is Tattva.
Hmm.
Unless we are firmly fixed in Tattva, that we are not this body, right? We have to be firmly fixed in this Tattva. Then we can relish Rasa,
Hmm.
right? So, very important. Not we can't give up Tattva. Tattva is our foundation. Without foundation, we can't build the first floor.
Yeah, yeah. But
Only
I
when
was
we
saying,
are firmly fixed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe you can rephrase your this one, but when you say
yeah,
no Tattva, then scary. Then we
yeah,
need,
yeah.
yes.
And I think I was saying, Proji, that we should get attracted more by these things, and that should be like our culmination of uh, what we feel about Krishna, right? So, like a lot of people, they stay at the level of analytical study, and and basically the real conversation among devotees, unless it is start happening at the level where they start discussing these pastimes, relating their bhava, maybe that is not the
Okay.
ultimate level, is it? Or
Okay, I'll explain. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? What can we do to get to this ragam, this stage of intense absorption? Okay, so first thing is to actually know that something like this exists. First thing is knowledge that there is Vaidhi Bhakti and there is Raga Bhakti. And that it attracts, Krishna is more attracted by Raga Bhakti. This is first. We need to understand this, right? And before this, we should have come to the stage of complete surrender to Krishna. And we should be on the pure platform, meaning we want to do anything which pleases Krishna. That should be our first platform is so okay, step by step, let's go. So I'm not the enjoyer. I'm just part and parcel of Krishna, and I'm his servitor, and my existence is to please him. Mm. So this is the basic, right? Sambandha Grana. Then we should start doing things that are pleasing to Krishna only. So this is the pure platform, not doing anything for sense gratification. When we are on this platform, and when we hear that Krishna is most it gives Krishna highest happiness when devotees worship him without oil reverence in this raga marga. Then that has to catch our attention, saying that now this is something I need to achieve. Okay, with
hmm.
me so far.
Yes,
Okay.
Roji.
So now when we develop this intense desire to develop raga marga, now that has to become the sole goal of our life. Sole goal of our life. Meaning now everything that we do is to make sure that we are making progress on this path and not getting stuck at lower levels, which is, material attachment or la puja pratishtha or this and that and all that, right? Because now this is much above all this. And not getting worked up about our material life and our material situation and this and that and all that. So giving up all that, just coming to this platform saying, okay, this raga is the topmost because it gives highest happiness to Krishna, most happiness to Krishna. So I want to come to this stage. So this intense desire has to start in us. And how will that happen? Is by hearing from devotees who have that uh, intense desire by Shravanam, right? So um, I've told this before, right? Shukamukad Amrita Drava Samyatam, right? Bhagavatam is already nectarian, but because it is coming from the pure mouth of, Raga Bhakta, actually Shukadev Goswami is a Raga Bhakta. We can't make out. Mm. He's not a Vaidhi Bhakta. That is the reason why Vaishnavas say it is so sweet because it's coming from the lotus mouth of Shukadev Goswami. Mm. So we should hear, and as we keep hearing, and we have this in the bottom of our heart, having this intense desire to come to this Raga Marga, then slowly, steadily, all our obstacles will start going. So we hear more and more, we develop more attraction, which is the reason I've been telling devotees, especially those who have been, in Krishna consciousness for a few years. If you have not yet reached Bhagavatam 10th canto, please read Krishna book every day. Mm. Because sooner than later, one has to get attracted by one of these rasas. One of these rasas. Dasya is okay. We are not so focused on Dasya, at least Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Amongst these three, something should be attracting us, for which we have to read 10th canto. But for us to reach 10th canto, we should have read 9 cantos. If you have not got there, then we have to read Krishna book every day. And automatically, we should not make any effort. See, this is very, very important. We should not put any effort to develop any kind of rasa. In the sense, it has to be spontaneous. There has to be a natural attraction for us. Naturally, we should be attracted to being a Sakha of Krishna. Naturally, we should be attracted to be in this, position of parental love or conjugal love. Like I said, Gopi slash Manjari Bhava. It should be natural. No, the simple statement I'm just making saying that Gopi slash Manjari Bhava. It took me 10 years to realize that there are two bhavas. Mm. Because it's not so straightforward. It's not so, it's for whatever reason, Prabhupada doesn't speak much about the difference between these two bhavas. Or even in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it's not very, very clearly explained. So what will happen is that when we start hearing these things and we want more clarity, because I don't know. Okay, I seem to be understanding something about Sakya. I seem to be understanding something about Matsalya, Vatsalya, but I don't understand Madhurya. Now I need to understand Madhurya. So then I have to, I have to keep praying to Krishna. Then Krishna, based on our sincerity, will do Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. He will direct us to some. Now this is the excitement in devotion. But if we don't get there, see, one thing we have to understand: if it was all fixed marga, if it's all fixed predetermined path, then Krishna wouldn't have said Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, right? So it is a very exciting path, the path of devotion going up to raga. Okay, so but for which we have to get excited about it. It's like somebody is excited to go out of the country, somebody is excited to go on a yatra, somebody is excited to go to do something like that. We have to be excited to be on get onto this marga. Mm. And that will happen only by Shravanam. Actually, if we read Prabhupada's books attentively, it's all there, but we don't do it that way. Uh, Um, so, for example, see, in this whole purport, the most important thing we might start wondering, saying that why is Prabhupada talking about this Raga Marga? And the connection for this statement is here, right? Where is that? This service is indirectly praised by Narada Muni in this verse. So, indirect praise by Narada Muni is Raga Bhakti. So, if we don't read this, if we miss this sentence, We can't understand what is the relationship between this part of the purport and the verse, because Narada Muni didn't talk about any raga marga there. Hmm. So it's not very direct. It's not very straightforward, right? But if we are reading the purports attentively and hearing, reading, but like I'm again repeating, first reading, then hearing. Don't skip reading for hearing. Hmm. First, we have to read Prabhupada. We have to read Prabhupada. We have to hear Prabhupada. Reading from Prabhupada's purport is hearing from Prabhupada. And then we come into this, this amazing position of saying, okay, now it looks like, okay, I am now attracted towards raga. But what is this raga? Now, how do I make progress? What should I do? But till we become excessively attached to this, we are excited about this. Oh, yes, 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 this is so amazing. I want to go onto this path. It's not going to happen. I was talking to some devotee who's been in the movement for a few years, many years, very, very dedicated, very surrendered soul. But for some reason, the devotee has not read extensively about Krishna. His Bhagavatam reading has been slow because of so many other services, etc., etc. Now, and then I felt saying that, see, this is the reason why we should spend time reading Prabhupada's books, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, though, we have to finish very, very quickly, and then we have to get on to Bhagavatam. Because this is the next, we have to come to see what does Bhagavatam do. Bhagavatam just brings us to the stage of a perfect devotee, or a pure devotee, not perfect devotee, pure devotee. Right? Bhagavad Gita brings us to the level of becoming making us a devotee. Then we have to become a pure devotee, meaning we have to give up material sense gratification, Mishra Bhakti. We should give that up and come to the pure platform. That is Bhagavatam. Then Chaitanya Charitamrita, perfect pure devotee. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, perfect pure devotee. So we should come to the stage of actually discussing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And side by side, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ecstasies that he displayed. It's not required for us to come to hearing about pastimes immediately. Because without knowing all these details of the Rasa Tattva, we can't actually experience that actual happiness. Then, when we are firmly fixed in this Rasa Tattva, understanding what Rasa is, what are the different aspects, why does so much of technical stuff is there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which normally devotees don't get to, which is beyond the first 19 chapters of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is generally read for Bhakta Shastra, or Bhakti Shastri, as people call it. Then, when we are fixed in that platform, when we understand each and everything that is happening on the basis of Shastra, each and everything that is happening in Goloka on the basis of Shastra, then we can actually relish the pastimes. So there is a long way to go. But that long way becomes very, very short if we strictly follow the process. Right? And again, I'm telling this. It may appeal to some of you. It may not appeal to some of you. That this Raga Marga is the exciting devotional path. That is where real excitement starts in devotion. And then Prabhupada says, life of a devotee is very adventurous. For many reasons, he says that. Okay, so this is very, very important. That's why I said these verses are very, very important. You know what Narada Muni is saying. While externally it might just look like, very simple statements about developing absorption, but it's actually glorifying the Raga Marga. Hmm. Okay, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, you want any clarification on this topic? It's a slightly exalted topic, but nevertheless, we need to get there. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this Manjari Bhav, how exactly it is?
Not, not explaining. I'm not going to explain. Okay, see, these are the things we have to understand. Saying that, see, the path of bhakti is not there is not going to be spoon feeding. Okay.
Mm,
Now, the reason I'm bringing up these topics is for it to create some kind of curiosity, right? For those who get caught up in this curiosity, then your path will be clear. Now you are going to start, first you will start reading Prabhupada's books with a completely new perspective. Saying that, oh wow, okay, Prabhupada seems to have spoken about these things also in the purports. Where are those? Right?
mm,
Then we will read Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu more deeply. Then slowly we will start coming. Now we will be on a fixed platform of clear understanding. Then we will start, you know, with permission of superior authorities, then go into our, Acharya's books. And that's the path. And if I'm going to give that answer, that's not correct, because this
yeah,
is of discovery, and we have to come to that stage. For whom we will say do this spoon feeding is for those devotees who can't read. For them,
yeah,
we'll do spoon feeding, but the problem is that spoon feeding will not be sufficient, because they have to hear so much, right? If I just simply make one statement saying that this is Manjari Bhav, it is not going to help. It's not going
mm,
to help, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that this path is of discovery, right? We have to discover, not introspect and not speculate, sorry, not speculate, but discover, and it's not very straightforward. It's not going to come on a platter. It takes years and years of sincere sadhana with the desire to get there. And this
mm,
desire is the most critical thing. Just saying, sometime in this connection, I had written to Guru Maharaj, and then he said that, that this is a very far. One can only one who is fortunate can actually, get attracted to Krishna, like that he had written. And so it's not easy. Mm, it's not easy. So we should, but it has to, something has to prick us, right? Something has to, something should become more important for us than our material life, isn't it? Right. And this is, I mean, I'm saying with my little experience in in my devotion, it's the most exciting path. It's the most exciting path, and you will feel like eureka, eureka, eureka. You'll be jumping up and down. When we get onto this path, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Okay. Not that I've gotten much far, but I've at least I'm seeing what I have some clarity of what it is right now. Whether I'll be qualified to get there or not, that I don't know, right? Because this is not like some theoretical exams, right? That we just pass. Oh, okay, I have knowledge about all these things, so Krishna is going to let me into Goloka in these roles. No, knowledge is okay, it's good to have, but the qualification, adhikara. So that requires super sadhana. That requires us surrender. All the basics that we keep talking every day is the basic foundation for us to actually, for those doors to open. Hmm? It's like Harry Potter. Huh? Some magic doors have to open. Those doors are going to open based on our surrender. And if we are stuck at lower levels, unfortunately, we can't get to these things. So we have to give up petty things in our life. We have to not get affected by small little things that happen around us. Don't bother about other devotees. Don't get think that you are superior to others. Put your head down and with surrender, with submission, surrender to an authority whom you think can take you there, right? Which is the Guru, and surrender to the Guru. Submit your life, offer your life to Guru's seva, follow his instructions, and then something will happen. Something will happen. And in the midst of all this, it doesn't require us to give up our job or anything like that, but the absorption has to be here. This has to be our problem statement. Our problem statement is, oh, I'm not able to figure this out. I don't know, I'm lost. Where should I go? What should I do? And then slowly Krishna will reveal when the time comes. Okay, but the foundation, again, I'm repeating, is Shravanam, is reading. When I say Shravanam, devotees misunderstand and start hearing lectures. No, it is reading. Is reading Prabhupada's books. No person in any lecture will talk about all these things. Okay, I am just discussing these because I'm discussing Prabhupada's purpose. If I were giving a class, based on the audience, I would have possibly decided, I would have spoken more on humility in connection with this verse, purport, than Ragamarga. But because we are all doing study of Prabhupada's purports here, so I'm trying to explain to you, saying like this, Prabhupada has written about these things in so many purports, not just in Bhagavatam, but more so in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, etc. So we need to get there. We need to read those. We need to read them multiple times to get attracted towards something happening here in Vrindavan. Or like I said, read Krishna book regularly. And when we do all this, we can get there. So the idea here is to just trigger that curiosity. Yeah. If anybody, any devotee gets triggered hearing, coming, attending these sessions, then that's the yeah, that's the outcome of this Shravanam. Okay, Prabhu. Sorry, I can't answer your question.
No, Proji, correct. I think it's a long way, and
Yeah,
we will not appreciate that in one line. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, anything else? Are others also on the same page? Are you able to appreciate the
Yeah,
topic?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, this one says TV.
Prabhu,
Google
my
TV,
name,
Goloka TV, TCP Vinod. So
Goloka TV.
it says TV. Okay.
Oh, TV.
Uh,
I don't know, Prabhu. I'm
okay.
joining. Okay, it's a TC, no, Prabhu. TCP. TC Palya.
Okay. Okay. Go
So,
ahead.
so, so, Prabhu, quick question. So, yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree that yes, reading is the key, right? And then, yeah, eventually, it's a journey, as you said, an exciting journey. But Prabhu, I mean, if you look at certain examples, right? So, for example, the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, finding a Brahmana in the Sriranga temple,
Mm,
right? So, where
mm,
he's just looking at the book because based
mm,
on the guru's instructions, and then he's crying looking at the picture, like
yeah.
the Krishna, driving the chariot of Arjuna. So,
Mm,
and then also one of the pastimes, I mean, pastimes in the sense like one of the incidents of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as well, I mean, Maharaj as well, that he was pointing to one gardener, right? He was not
mm.
pointing to one of his like most
Scholars.
educated or
Mm,
like scholarly devotees. He was
yeah.
pointing to one gardener who would just takes out flowers and offers them.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they were quoting, I mean, he was pointing them to that specific person that he's at
Mm,
the topmost level than any
mm,
others, right? So
mm,
how do we understand this, Prabhu? Because for I don't know, maybe they have gone through all this reading already and the realization already in their previous lives, and now
yeah.
that they're behaving such a way, or how do we
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. Yeah. So one very important thing to understand is that, of course, our acharyas, when something like this comes up, right? It's for some unique lessons they are teaching, right? But we should not think that that is a norm. Uh,
Yes.
so the point that is being made here is that you don't need to be a scholar to be a top devotee of Krishna. That is the point being made in the examples that you quoted. Okay, but it doesn't support one from not reading. Okay, now what is the state, what is the position of these devotees? Completely 150% sold out to the guru.
Yes. Yeah. That is the
This is
most,
the quality,
yeah,
right?
correct.
So and this is what I've been repeating, right? If somebody can do that and guru is pleased, automatically knowledge will manifest. You don't have to read. Knowledge will manifest. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. From where? From within. From within. Tene brahmaradaya adikave. From within, the knowledge will manifest. But that requires that kind of supreme surrender. If somebody is able to do that, we don't need to do anything else. But then when you go to the guru, guru will say, okay, you know how to study, no? Go and study Shastra. right? But for somebody like who's a gardener who actually doesn't know how to read and write, Guru will just bless him with his mercy so that the knowledge will manifest because of his surrender and his service.
Okay, so he doesn't need to. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, he
it
doesn't
is
need to
making
read.
sense now that because Krishna himself is giving that education from within the heart. What's I
Yes,
mean, yeah,
yes,
okay. So there's
he
no, you
reveals.
don't have to be scholarly to. I mean,
No,
this is
not at
another
all.
way of. Yes, yes. Okay,
And
Prabhu.
those who are scholars, like I keep saying, like I talk about myself. I think I know so much of. I've read so much that I might just not have the humility to actually surrender. And that knowledge actually becomes like in some sense, disadvantage to me, right? So it's not. Having said that, it's not that we should not know, but at the same time, the key is humility and surrender. This I'm saying, irrespective whether you know stuff or you don't know stuff, irrespective, the key is humility and surrender. And for those who don't know, maybe it's easier, humility and surrender. For those who know, they think they are something, so humility doesn't come, surrender doesn't come easily. Mm.
Mm.
But
Makes
but the
sense.
key is humility and surrender to Guru. Okay, anything else? Okay, fine. So we'll close here. Thank you all for joining. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत वैष्णव की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.